It seems really present to ask you at this time, really kind of post-Trump's visit and with Brexit going on, about ideas around US foreign policy at this time. And I wondered to what extent your book was a history of the early 21st century about the development of those ideas.
It has a bearing on it, because if you remember, Trump was elected on a slogan of making America great again. And so there's an obvious set of ideas which has been a continuous thread in American foreign policy since the beginning of the 20th century. It's basically the nationalistic thread. So the book, because it's about ideologies, is about the way foreign policy is presented, you know, what the steps are taken to try and legitimize it, to try and make it appeal to the voters, but also the way in which it's imagined by those who are making foreign policy. So the Americans imagine themselves to be a model country. You know, they imagine themselves to have an ideal democracy. They think that the values that they represent are universal values, and that other people would see that American intervention is benign, you know, is in the interest of other people. They don't see themselves as predators. They don't see themselves as, you know, meddlers in other people's affairs. They see themselves as coming in to correct things that are going wrong. And where, you know, the economy is concerned, which is the pressing issue now in this country since the Brexit vote, one of the things which is consistent in American foreign policy is their absolute determination to put the US economy first. That isn't unusual, of course. Most countries take the same view. The difference is the Americans usually have the power to be able to do that. They only really became advocates of free trade when the US economy became so dominant that it was way ahead of everybody else. So by 1945, America was making about half of the world's manufactured goods. It was then that the US declared itself in favor of free trade. Prior to that, they'd always protected their industries with really high tariffs. You know, tariffs as high as 25%. So any imported goods had 25% of the cost added to them to make them uncompetitive in America, to protect American business. So one of the things that you could expect in any trade deal with the US now is that the Americans would try to undermine the National Health Service on the grounds that it's a national monopoly. A national monopoly which is preventing US private suppliers of health services from entering the UK market.